Just a reminder before today's programme that the previous Ident Review Extra is still available to view, where we took a look at It's Scary Out There. And now, here on AMTV, time for the latest instalment of the Ident Review Extra, and this time, we're going to Springfield. Hello, and welcome to the Ident Review Extra, the spin-off show that takes a look at one individual ident each episode and gives it the review it deserves. And today we continue our marathon through the BBC2 idents of the 1990s and now the early 2000s. Today in our BBC2 journey, we're looking at a pair of idents that are certainly no stranger to this channel. Originally covered in episode 13 of the Ident Review, as they're part of our BBC2 marathon, it's only fair we give them a second airing. In the June of 2000, a special night of programming aired on BBC2, dedicated to everyone's favourite family, The Simpsons, who at that point had been on the air since 1989. Let's see if my opinions have changed as we take a look at the two special idents that made up Simpsons Night.
Hi, I'm Zoe Ball, and I'd like to welcome you to Simpsons Night on BBC2.
Surprisingly simple for a Simpsons affair. This one is very much what you see is what you get. A flying yellow 2 zooms towards the camera before smashing into it, cracking the screen and pulling back slightly. First off, I love the homage to the Simpsons title card, following the same motif of the clouds parting in the sky to reveal the main event. The 2 is even in the same colour as the Simpsons logo, maintaining that continuity. One surprise is the absence of the Simpsons theme for this music. Instead we have the Neon soundtrack, which granted does work in most of this era for BBC2, but if the BBC already had the license to air The Simpsons, surely they had the means to include the theme in their idents as well? Just a thought. Also, keen listeners will notice the continuity announcer is none other than Zoe Ball, who had gone to great success as a presenter both on TV and on the radio. It may be simple, but the crack effect is charming enough and brings a smile. Although something a bit more elaborate would have been more welcomed, especially when promoting such a monumentally popular show such as The Simpsons. But now, let's have a look at the second variant that aired on the same night.
And now, for the first time on BBC2, Springfield's favourite shopkeeper in Much Apu About Nothing.
Ah yes, this ident. I've always found this one a mix of fascination and just downright strangeness. First off, let's focus on the good. The idea of the Simpsons-shaped 2s is an interesting idea that somewhat works here. I can imagine them releasing figures of these. I'd definitely buy them. It's also nice to see the 2s be integrated into the most iconic Simpsons set piece, that being their living room on the couch. It's essentially BBC2's interpretation of the couch gag that begins each Simpsons episode. Now, the more negative criticisms. First off, the idea of Simpsons-shaped 2s is horrifying. Look at this, man. It's the family's severed heads moulded onto the BBC2 logo. It's straight out of a horror film. It's something that wouldn't be out of place in a Treehouse of Horror episode. And like the first ident we looked at, why is there no inclusion of Simpsons music at all? I just think with any Simpsons ident, some music, whether it's the theme or incidental tracks from episodes, or even new original music, should always be a must. Also, it's a weird nitpick this, but the sound effect used for when the eyes blink in the darkness sounds very dated and almost 80s sounding, like the sound effects of an old Pong console. It's just bizarre really, innit? Overall, 20 years after their debut, how do these two Simpsons idents stack up today? Mixed bag of results if you ask me. Despite being more plain, I think I prefer the first one, if only because it's less disturbing. I can't get over the fact that the Simpson family heads are moulded onto the 2, I just can't unsee that. Both evoke the iconography of The Simpsons really well, but they are far from perfect. And future Simpsons idents, particularly from Channel 4, do a much better job in my opinion. Check out my Simpsons episode of the Ident Review for more information. So despite not being perfect, these two variants have their place, if anything, to represent what BBC2 was like when hosting the most famous family of all of Springfield. And so we've come to the end, but before we go, the final words from our broadcaster. This programme has been brought to you in part by our producer and director patrons. With your support, you help keep AMTV running and the programmes coming to your screens. Thank you. And that does bring us to the end of another evening here on AMTV. We hope you enjoyed the programme, and we hope to see you next time. Good night.